Yeah, no, the life.
Talk about being worked up.
Well,
I was saying it feels like people are not as worked up as they used to be.
Which is good.
About skateboarding.
Which is good. I just don't like bullies, so I'm still kind of worked up about it.
We had a run. We had a big run with bullies in skateboarding in the Midwest. We did. Is it over? I think that it largely is. Do you think it's over?
I think some aspects of it are over, but I don't think the entire. I don't think it's ever going to be over in skateboarding or in anything ever.
I tend to. I have had some young folks come and talk to me and say, "No, it's over. It's over. Like there's no more, and it sure isn't like it used to be. It's not. It's not like it used to be.
Yes.
It used to be that like, oh, there was a whole ginormous cult belief system behind the scene and what's a real skateboarder. We haven't started our podcast part yet. We're just
sorry.
We're farting around on the warm up. We've got coffee.
Hell yeah.
We have our various fruit flavored inhalants.
It's for my asthma.
I've got it's like a double entendre.
Yeah.
Do you know what miasma means?
Miasma? No,
miasma. M-I-A-S-M-A. It means poisonous vapors.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's
for miasma.
Yes, dude. Oh, I'm writing it down.
And,
it's for miasma.
Yeah.
My new.
Got my reading glasses.
Gosh.
Got a couple of fresh copies of Holy Writ on hand. I got the 17-point reader's version for my aging eyes in the New Living Translation, and I've got this beautiful tome. I like knives, I like pipes, and I like Bibles, and I like year 2000 twin cam Harley Davidsons. This bad boy is in the English Standard Version, which is a killer study version. I like the New Living for reading and talking. I like the English Standard and the New King Jimmy for study. I like them because, I've drunk in a spot or two of the original Hebrew of the Old Testament, and I find it gratifying, interesting, and valuable to what do you call it?
Things.
Look at the
with the words and stuff.
You're reading ancient literature. Give it some thought. Loosen up. It's ancient.
Bro.
It's art crawl.
It's art crawl. I've been having some interesting conversations with the boys at work because all of them grew up Catholic.
Oh.
And they all hate God and everything, which is always fun.
You'll have that.
You really will have that. I love them, dude. I really care about these people, and we sometimes talk about the Bible, and they're always mocking and silly But I got to talk about I
love your guys at work.
Me too. One of my friends was like, "Oh, I'm gonna read the Bible so I can actually talk to you about it." And I was like, "I dare you."
I like
that. I dare you to.
I do like that.
And we got to talk about the breakdown of. He was like, "So is it are they different books? What's the Old Testament versus the New Testament?" And we got to talk about it just a little bit. And I just do light touches with the guys because I think it's a little deep, too fast.
Hey, you're at work.
But yeah, and I'm working. So, but it's cool. We talked about what kind of different literature and things of that nature in the Word. And I realized, I was like, once you really begin to understand what's happening, I was like, yeah, you should read your Bible, but I'm like, you should also maybe watch some Mike Winger or I don't know, get some context, don't do it by yourself, do that, but also get some context, because if you just read it, maybe you'll have a harder time understanding it. So
depends.
I think it depends as well.
It depends. I mean, I don't think that a person is gonna wind up misunderstanding. They may not like what they're reading, but they're not going to wind up misunderstanding the themes and the treatment of those themes.
That's
if
true.
They're reading from the Scripture.
Well, the other problem is that everybody likes to play act like they're some sort of crazy intellectual. So I want to treat people I want to be in the conversation at in the same wavelength that they're in the conversation at. So part of that is, because everybody's like, well, what study did you hear that from? And where's your proof and all that jazz, which is so, I hate talking with people like that.
You know what?
I don't like it.
There's actually a scripture about that.
Oh. Which one? Is it the tome or the
oh no, I'm taking this from the
NLT.
modern New Living Translation, which is 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Half a dozen or so.
Here in 2 Timothy chapter 2, let's just double up our 17-point print with a set of 1.25 readers. I'm happy as a clam now.
20.25 print.
That's so funny. My long distance vision is more than okay, but my short distance vision is definitely changing. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 23, it says, "Again I say, don't get involved in foolish, ignorant arguments that only start fights. A servant of the Lord," this is written to someone who's teaching people, yes, who's like working to help people understand what's going on with Jesus. And he says, "A servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but must be kind to everyone, be able to teach, and be patient with difficult people. Gently instruct those who oppose the truth. Perhaps God will change those people's hearts and they will learn the truth. Then they will come to their senses and escape from the devil's trap, for they have been held captive by him to do whatever he wants."
That's like a hammer.
That is such that's how I see it. Now, if a person is like, "Well, I don't like God, I don't want to be, God is stupid, church is horrible, I was an altar boy," and they read that, they're like, "What a condescending thing to say that other people have been taken captive." 2 Timothy chapter 2, 23 and following, But this is the way I see it. Some people, they resist the truth. In history writ large, Jesus Christ is a big deal. He's a big, big deal. And what Jesus has done is worth our attention and might even gain our affections. But some people aren't having it. They want to argue. They want to be in fights.
Yes.
And this passage right here says, "A servant of the Lord," says, "don't get involved in foolish, ignorant arguments that only start fights." And I don't read Greek.
Okay.
But I heard, and that's for what it's worth, I heard that the Greek in that one actually says, "ask out."
Huh.
Ask out of foolish, ignorant arguments that only start fights. There comes a point for the person. I have an agenda. I want every one of you to have the best chance you can get in this life to make a real and informed decision about things of eternal consequence, And that agenda includes using skateboarding is definitely bait on the hook, honeys. Like this is. We always wind up, even with our sad profanities and our obviously flawed piety, we're not great Christians. But Jesus is a great Christ. And I really do believe that in history, Jesus is the promised Messiah of Israel, just as the prophets foretold. I'm like that. I really am. But, some folks are just spoiling for a fight.
Yeah.
And this doesn't tell you that you can't interact with them or you should stay away from people who ask hard questions. It says, lean into them with patience and gently instruct people who oppose the truth. So, 2 Timothy chapter 2, 23 and following is a precious, precious spot for me. But you hear it said, be able to teach?
Yeah.
That means that, I remember when I first started, just digging.
Yeah.
Just digging and going, oh, I can't believe this. Like, Jesus' mom had other kids. It's right there. I couldn't believe it. I was surrounded by Italian Catholics.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, it's, and then I noticed that there was nothing about Mary ascending to heaven or being sinless or any of that stuff in there. And then I even saw her and the brothers come to collect Jesus because they thought he was a threat to his own safety, I suppose.
Yes.
And they came to collect him, and he said the darndest things about those relationships. And really, I was like, wow, this is not like it's being presented around me, and I was glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, because these conversations happen all the time at work, because I work with a great bunch of guys, and they all like to talk and fight, play fight.
Heck
and,
yeah, man.
You know, and it's fun. I enjoy it, and I don't mind that they think that I'm ridiculous.
It's just girls being girls being girls
yeah,
being girls.
exactly. It's just girls being girls out there. So, but it's funny because for the past, 3 years, probably, I've been like I discovered YouTube as like a source for information and things of that nature. So there was probably 2 years where every day I was listening to multiple sermons, and I was listening to a lot of Mike Winger as well, who I really enjoy. And it's funny because when I'm in these conversations, I find the themes that I listen to, because I'm not listening to learn necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning as I listen, and I think the two are different. But all this information floats up to the top of my brain that I didn't even realize was there, and it's from the time just my commute is 1 hour both ways, so I'm going to hammer down on a sermon one way and listen to 3/4 of a Mike Winger video the other way, and all this information kind of just bubbles up to the surface as I'm in these conversations with these people. And I think it really, I say that to corroborate what you're saying. You know, if you want to talk to people about God, you gotta know about Him. So. And it's fun. It's cool. I really enjoyed it. It was just a 45-second interaction, but I was really helping this person understand. They had these notions about what it meant to be a Christian and all that jazz. And just to bring just a little bit of clarity was man, this is awesome, you know? And he was actually really listening, you know? It was very cool. So.
The sower goes out to sow the seed.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to sow with a shotgun.
If it weren't for the temperatures, that might be a cool way to plant a field. Can you imagine, if you had shotgun shells packed with wildflower seeds and you were skeet shooting with them, and you had wildflowers in shotgun patterns?
Yes,
you know,
dude. That would be actually a really cool idea.
If you had a trap set up, you could shoot. Skeet shooting would give you the best yield because it's all in one direction.
Yes. That'd be awesome.
Something that I think of when I think about, you've got some people argue to learn. Yes. You know, some people learn by sparring. You know, martial arts, you learn by sparring.
Right.
And some people argue to win.
Yeah.
You know, they're combative.
I hate it.
Well, I hate it less than you do.
Yeah, it's fine.
I probably do.
I mean, I love those people, but I just hate that style of the...
I think in that passage, 2 Timothy 2:23 and following, I think what you're seeing is for combative people that just want to have fights, ask out of it. But people who are arguing with you because they oppose what you're saying.
Yeah.
But they're still, you know, there's still hope there. You know, maybe they're going to argue to learn. Maybe they're going to think about it, you know.
Right.
And especially don't get combative with people. But I'm thinking I used to have, I still do it. I still write all the time.
Yeah.
I guess I've written a lot of the time. There have been years in my life I didn't do much, but writing down this person said this to me, and I really didn't know how to answer them.
Yeah.
That is a really good question. Here's a thought.
Yeah.
What if my coworkers who don't like my faith and don't agree with me about Jesus, what if they ask me a bunch of questions and I go on a journey of inquiry?
Yeah.
And then I find out that Christianity is not true at all.
Sure.
You got to be willing.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure.
What if you go into it and you discover that these things are not so?
Yeah.
That it isn't that way.
Sure.
It's not reliable. It's not conclusive. It's not demonstrated in history. It's not a compelling set of historical evidences. It's not a solid ethical calling to a focused point. It's not what if, that's the danger of reading the scripture.
Yeah. Sure.
It doesn't bother me that the God who created everything has revealed himself in the scriptures. They're gnarly because he's gnarly.
Yeah.
I'm willing to be undone like that.
Yeah.
But I like writing down the objections of skeptics and saying, I don't know how to answer that.
Sure.
I have some work to do.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't think I can answer that sufficiently today.
Right.
Sometimes a person really loves being heard
Yeah.
and would respect more a person who would say, bro, I don't think I can answer that very well. I'm going to do some thinking, some reading, some thinking.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll get back to you about that.
Right.
What are we having for lunch?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yes.
And that's a good thing. I used to write things down. I had a teacher who I had come to faith as a kid, and it was like an 11th grade English class. And she said to me, she said, well, Lewis, because everyone called me, all my teachers called me Lewis.
Yes.
I didn't really like that. I'm Lou.
I'm Lou.
I'm Lou. She said, Lewis, Jesus was a sinner just like every other human being. And I thought, no, that's not true. I just read that.
Yeah.
That he was without sin. And
Right.
that's a significant claim.
Yeah.
And the implications of that are very significant. Because if he were just like everyone else, then he wouldn't even be counted among the good ethical teachers of the world, since he portrayed himself clearly to be divine in nature and positioned himself clearly to be the substitutionary atonement for the sin of the world. So I went into that. I came back to her and I was like, you said this to me. It only took me one day.
Yeah.
Because I had just been reading it. And it was the first time I'd ever been reading it. I said, you said this to me, but right here it says that he wasn't. So just to let you know, I totally don't think I agree with that at all, because it says it right here. And, that's a bit of a circular argument to say,
Sure.
well, the Bible says that Jesus was without sin. But my sense has been really strengthened in subsequent years that the Bible is very reliable as ancient literature. So compellingly reliable as ancient literature that there is no other. The Bible has also been spooky in my life. Spooky.
Yeah.
There is a God who is working in the message of those pages. When a person engages that, things start to move. Demons cried out when Jesus would teach.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to handle that.
I just work here, bro. I don't know.
Well, hey, let's start the podcast up.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna hit this here.
On the pot beam.
All right. Oh, we didn't turn on our.
with the
hang on
things.
here. I'm gonna go like this. I paused that recording. I'm gonna turn on the Lavaliers.
Lavaliers.
Yeah.
They missed a chance to call them
looking in
Lavaliers,
here.
dude. What were they?
Looking in here to see if it's gonna join.
Mine joined.
Mine joined. All right. Let's do this again.
Lovely.
All right. We have got our lavalier mics on. The Lavaliers. Les Lavaliers. And we are here.
Yes. And the sanctum.
CapmLew podcast. Yes. We are in the upper sanctum. We've got our Facebook Live fired up. All fired up. And we didn't really agree to what topic we were going to address today,
It's
which
fine.
I think is funny.
Yes.
We just did a little bit of Bible time with our Facebook audience. That'll be actually on the podcast YouTube one day.
Yes. One.
Probably 3 months.
Yeah, or sooner. I don't know if I can figure things out.
That's fine.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. But I'm trying to figure out if I should go through and upload all the older ones first, and then so all the videos are in sequential order. But I don't know if it's worth it or not.
It might be, if you can find the easiest way to do it.
Yes.
Maybe you should try to approach it chronologically.
Chronologically, yeah, which
Yeah.
probably won't be too bad, because I have my notebook, and I have them every episode we do, I have a little note taking session. I have a date, so I can go back and just correlate dates.
This guy.
Dude.
We got some feedback.
What? Where?
Well,
How?
you
In
should-
what way?
You should argue more with me.
Oh yeah, we did get that.
You should offer some pushback.
Yeah, all right.
I liked that feedback.
I disagree.
Well, that's good. Fight me.
Yeah, fight me, dog. You have so many knives. You're bristling with.
I don't even have a knife.
I know,
right
but there's
now.
like 800 within your reach, bro.
Where?
Yeah, where? I don't even know what you're talking
I got
about.
this one. I got the one I'm holding. It's a Gerber. And it was given to me by a dear friend as I work for him. And Blue Crane Retail Maintenance Company. I work for Blue Crane for my buddy Britt, and he does amazing work in retail maintenance. He is a get-her-done guy.
Dude.
Stuff I wouldn't even know where to start on. He's already halfway through by the time we start.
I don't understand.
The boy can go to Home Depot and fix plumbing.
Yeah, it makes sense. God made us to be different people with different gifts because, bro.
He knows how professional toilets work. You know, the guy knows how to fix a urinal.
Yeah, a freaking urinal.
I don't know how a urinal works.
No, dude.
I don't even know how to open one up. And Britt's got the thing opened up and he's replacing guts. And I'm like, where'd you get those guts? He's like, I ordered them.
Like, oh,
I'm like, how do you order the right ones? He's like, I know all the model numbers. That's an L542.
Yeah, like,
that's a this, that's a that.
Chill, bro.
It's actually cool.
You know, it's funny when you just do something for a long time, you learn how stuff works.
Oh, the bunch of knowledge that Britt's piled up. But I want to thank Blue Crane Maintenance for my sweet Gerber knife. Look at this thing. It's like a cleaver. It's not got a normal drop point or anything like that. It's a little flake cleaver, probably a 3-inch long blade with a leaf lock. Lovely blade.
Cleaving needs.
I carry it, but I won't use it on just anything.
Yeah, come on, man.
I won't, because that cleaver tip will snap off.
Yeah, it really will.
And I'd have to shorten it to get the tip back.
Yeah, come on now.
Well, so now then, also we'd like to thank all the people who do send money to us.
Yes.
That's encouraging, and I did figure out how to look at how that works.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I put up Stripe on here.
Stripe.
And did you?
I said Stripe. Stripe. I used to struggle with my R's and W's. I love it, dude.
That's hilarious.
Stripe.
I just needed a moment.
Yeah, just take it. It's fine, dude. And, you know, there was something you said last podcast. I'd like to circle back to it because I thought it was really good. And let me check my notations. You said something like, skate till you're happy. When you go skateboarding.
And then if at any point you're not happy,
just change it.
Change it. And if changing it doesn't work, play your guitar.
Like just
draw
skate
something.
till you're happy. Right.
Play a video game, maybe?
Not too much, but yeah.
I don't know. Video games, I heard they're good for us. I don't play video games. I can't handle the interface.
Yeah, dude.
We
gotta get you an Oculus.
I'm a little...
Oculus.
An Oculus. I said the same thing to Skate with Grampy.
Skate till you're happy.
I said to him, the thing is, man, you find... Because he's 46, I think.
Okay.
And he has been skating for 1 year.
Yeah.
Skate with Grampy on TikTok.
Yes.
So that'd be at skate _with _ Grampy on TikTok. And he said, hey, I'm going to be skating near you. You want to skate? And I was so stoked.
Yeah.
Except pulling up, I was musing upon the absurdity of skateboarding.
Yes, of course.
Which is that's what's great about skateboarding is it is absurd.
It is.
I wound up saying to him, because he was working on learning how to carve frontside.
Bro, I remember those days, oofda. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And we were working on, you know what? This podcast is brought to you by Frontside Carves.
Dude,
we're going to go small arts today.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the joy I had with at skate _ Grampy. TikTok
on the TikToks. TikTok.
The great time I had with him, just having the joy of being there while a guy is learning how he could carve backside on the 7-foot quarter pipe.
Okay. Yeah.
But for his front side carves, he was on a very low wedge bank, probably just barely 3 feet tall.
Good.
At the bottom of the half pipe at Florence?
Yes, I do, yeah.
All right. And we were coming from the big flat and cutting a frontside, and I said, first of all, go lower.
Yep.
Go lower. And next I had this conversation with him about, all right, look. You have to take the sentence I'm about to say.
Yeah.
And you have to not try to do it today. But think about it.
Sure.
After you're done trying these things, think about this sentence and muse on it. And keep trying front sides and muse upon this sentence. And the sentence is, it's elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, foot, then the skateboard.
Yes.
You when you're turning or carving, your elbow, then your shoulder, then your hip turn, whether it's front side or back side.
Maybe add neck on top of that.
Well, you're always,
okay, no, it's
you
fine.
should look first. No,
Yeah.
that's actually good. So look, then elbow, shoulder.
Yes.
Shoulder takes the hip takes the knees take the feet and the board.
Yeah.
And so most people, when they start trying to turn on an incline,
Yeah.
they are literally turning the board and then bringing their shoulders with it. Turning
Yes.
the board, bringing the shoulders with it.
Yeah.
When really, you've got to turn the shoulders, and that's why pointing with your elbow when you're skating round wall,
Yes.
when you really are getting sideways on transition, there's an idea of pointing with your elbow.
Yeah.
And you can see it in Peter Hewitt.
Yeah.
He has a fighting stance, and he's really leading with his elbow, and it really comes through.
Yes.
Other people can get the shoulder-hip sequence without having to do elbow pointing.
Yeah.
And I even used my fingers to point and show him like how you open.
Yeah.
But what you're doing on a frontside carve is your weight is actually falling outside of line with your skateboard.
Yep.
And your steering is bringing the skateboard back underneath you. And that's why you don't just try it.
Yeah.
Is falling.
Yeah.
When you're going frontside, you're falling to the side you're not able to see toward.
Yes.
So think about this and go out and try kick turning and carving.
Yeah.
But take it low. Take it in really low.
Yeah.
And just cut a tiny slice of a nice wide spot on some embankment.
Yeah.
And just cut a tiny wide slice. And then go up a little higher, and just take these bite-size pieces of front-side turning.
Yeah.
And so that's, before I'll tell someone loosen up your trucks or
Yeah.
lift up the front of your board or any of that stuff, I say take a small bite.
Yeah.
And work with it.
Yeah.
And get that comfortable. And after I was done, we were doing that for a while, I found myself saying to him the thing you quoted from last time. I said, what you do with skateboarding, especially for us older guys, is today.
Yeah.
Just today, which is a huge mental discipline.
Yeah.
So it's hard to do just today.
Yeah.
Today, pick something fun. It could be an axle stall.
Yes.
It could be just pumping carbs.
Yes,
or
dude.
just rolling
Yeah.
and standing. Pick something fun. It doesn't have to be challenging.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be part of the larger progress, because everything is part of the larger progress.
Indeed.
If you keep rolling, you'll keep... It's not just the technical aspect that grows. It's the internal appreciation and fun of it that grows too.
Yeah.
And try to pick something that you enjoy and do that. And then you will find that skill will build.
Yeah.
Familiarity and even expertise will start to be in those spaces.
Yeah.
And then you might say, oh, well, I'm frontside carving. Well, now I'm going to take it to a half pipe and drop in frontside carve. I'm going to pump up from the bottom and start frontside carving without dropping in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to go to a little piece of transition near my house, and I used to just pump back and forth fakie.
Yes. Dude.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And I was a pretty good skateboarder.
Yeah.
And I used to just pump back and forth until I felt like my hips and everything were warmed up.
Yeah.
And then I would do 100 ollies.
Jeez.
Yep. I would drop the kids off at school, and I would just do 100 little ollies. Just 100 little ollies.
Yeah.
And if I never did anything else in those sessions, I didn't care.
Yeah.
And all the pressure was off. And it was great. I don't know how to apply my understanding of skateboarding and it's valuable to me that skateboarding be absurd. It's important for pastimes like skateboarding to be relatively absurd.
Yes.
So that they're a break
Yeah.
from the serious things that we actually deal with in life.
Right.
Now, here's a cheat
Go
that
ahead.
people use. They don't deal seriously with the serious things, and they make things like skateboards or motorcycles
Yeah.
their life.
Right.
And through inverting those things, it's not actually an inversion, they're just deleting.
Delete.
They're deleting dealing seriously with the more important things. Now the thing which is absurd
Yeah.
in comparison
Yeah.
has been mishandled. It's been put into a central location when it should be in a peripheral location. Jeez, I feel like Jordan Peterson.
I love it. I'm really soaking it in. This is the way I love to talk. Go ahead.
You should be saying
I'm
you hate it,
soaking
and you
in.
should be opposing me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I oppose
No,
you.
you just tell me no, you're washed up.
You're washed
thinking,
up.
clean
you
your
kook.
room.
Clean your room. Organize your life. Chaos versus order.
So yeah, when it comes to things like skateboarding, now some people have this with guitar playing or art.
Yeah.
But then then they cross a thing where they all of a sudden are sought after as some sort of an influencer or a sponsored person,
Yeah.
and it can really gum up the works.
Yeah.
It's kind of important for you to have things in your life that are not important,
Yep.
and we lose them, especially in American culture.
Yes.
Take, for example, baseball.
Oofta.
In the 1970s, when I was just a young warthog. When I was a young warthog, in the 70s, just for a minute.
Yeah.
It was, hang on,
Processing.
it was like 3rd or 5th grade.
Jeez. Tender.
I had my dad's old mitt from like the 50s
Mm-hmm.
and a wood bat, a youth bat.
Yeah.
And it was old.
Yeah.
And a ball.
Yeah.
And I used to every now and then get to go and play baseball in a lot there was a house going to be built there later. And I loved it. It was insanely cool.
What part of it did you really love?
Well, I loved that you could hit the ball.
Yeah, you just crank
Or
that
catch
down.
or throw the ball.
Yeah,
and
it's a
you
good
would get
feeling.
a chance to, but I also loved being with the other kids.
Yeah.
And didn't get to do that very often. I don't know if I got to do that 5 times in my life. But it ended for me
Mm-hmm.
when we got old enough. All those kids got into Little League.
Okay. Yeah.
And all of their parents shucked out
Mm-hmm.
what was back then quite a bit of money for their uniforms and
Yeah.
quite a bit of money on traveling and going to games and quite a bit of dedication to baseball games, like take up the weekend.
Right.
And it was a lifestyle. And
Yeah.
my parents, we had horses and a farm, and we were out from the center of everywhere. And my parents weren't willing to commit to their credit.
Yeah.
They weren't willing to commit to me. But also, when I went to try out for Little League, I didn't make it.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Dude.
not good.
That sucks.
I was not good at throwing. I was
Sure.
not a very confident little kid.
Yeah.
I was smart in other ways. My mama told me I was the most handsome boy of all.
Yes. Yes.
And
it really stuck.
I couldn't throw a ball very well.
Sure.
I couldn't swing a bat too well. I didn't make it onto the team for Little League. And also, my parents put me in Boy Scouts too.
Yes.
And I didn't like Boy Scouts because kids I didn't like getting made fun of.
Yeah, like vicious animals. Yeah.
They
They really can be.
I
dude.
got treated bad. I got treated real badly in some real ways.
Yeah.
The Boy Scouts was really sketchy.
Yeah.
That was really sketchy. There were some really bad things that almost happened to me in the Boy Scouts that didn't. I had no idea until much later that I had been like on a firing line, tied to a post, and that all the bullets had missed me, and there was a me-shaped outline.
Yeah,
you know?
dude, yeah.
But no, I didn't do Little League because I was no good at baseball. I think that was what it came down to.
Yeah.
But I also was no good at interacting with a generation where they would dogpile you,
Yeah,
completely rat pack you if you showed vulnerability. And man, I was a tender young thing with a very sensitive heart.
yeah.
And man, it was just so. Baseball, though, for just a couple of years before Little League, was kids. I mean, throwing dirt clods.
Yeah, dude.
You know, and
Heck
just being kids with no supervision.
Yes.
You know, and I don't know, burning things.
Yeah, like burning stuff, throwing stuff, kicking stuff.
But now, where do you see anything like a sandlot game of baseball?
Dude, it's so funny that you're saying this because at work, sometimes instead of a smoke break, we'll go outside and we have a couple frisbees at work, and we throw frisbee together in the parking lot, and we did that today, and I had a moment where I was like, I feel like a kid again. I literally feel like a kid right now. Like somebody would throw it and it'd hit the ground and bounce up and almost hit somebody in the face, and we all cackle with laughter, and I was like, I had this real sense. It was
Those are good guys, dude. You work with some good dudes.
No, they're awesome. I love them. And the stress was just, we do it because it's stress relieving. My job has a tendency to be really stressful, and my boss is sick, and it's just it's like a washing away.
Your boss is ill?
No, he's sick. Like he's
a good boss. Okay,
yeah,
good.
No,
I want to make sure.
Probably the best boss I've ever had in my life.
So you said it was stress relieving, and that's what sandlots are. So there's a pocket of that.
Yes, right.
They used to have a word for this. It was called play.
Yeah.
And play is how children learn.
Yeah.
And Jesus said that we should repent and become like children.
Yeah.
He said, if you don't repent and become like a child, you will not be able to see the kingdom of God. And the thing that really has always, gets me spicy and makes me feel contentious, and not wrongly so, is when things that ought to be play get professionalized. They get put in stadiums. They get put onto gridirons. They get put into fields, into leagues.
Right.
They get professionalized. They get monetized. And then this thing that, let's go out, and just have fun with our skateboards. Now all of a sudden you have to be good.
Right.
Because otherwise, how are you going to get... And that happened fast. I mean, ever since I was a kid, skateboarding, playing with skateboards has been plagued with needing to be good.
Yeah.
And what I love about skateboarding is that objectively, beyond all of that commodified culture, skateboards are useless wooden toys that we play with. And outside of chasing down the big trick for the achievement is this simple childlike play.
Yes.
And I see that getting jammed up with people as they enter into... So when I was skateboarding 2 days ago with a guy 46 years old, 47, who'd been skateboarding for 1 year, and I was having this session with him, and we were breaking down, like turning front side.
Yes.
It was for me like touching back to the appropriate absurdity of this pastime of riding skateboards.
Yeah.
And I have a pretty spicy take on taking skateboarding too seriously.
Yeah.
I do not believe that skateboarding can change or save your life, but play can.
Yeah. And
so can friendship.
Right.
And so can developing toughness.
Sure.
But it does rankle me. We'll circle back on this a million times. Waves on a beach. Skateboarding didn't save your life. First of all, your life is still in terrible danger if you haven't repented of your sin and haven't taken seriously that in history the Savior came. that might be a conversation for another time. That time might be in 5 minutes. But
buckle up.
your life is not saved because you're still going to die.
Yeah.
But riding your skateboard, you deciding to ride your skateboard, definitely makes an impact on your earthly journey.
Yes.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, man.
When you do it as play.
Yeah.
Now, I couldn't help but notice on the Facebook feed that we were joined, I don't know if he's still with us, we were joined by Floyd Howard Pruitt.
I think he's here right now.
I'd like to give a greeting out to Floyd Howard Pruitt down in Florida. I heard this week through the social medias that Floyd was in the hospital.
Yes.
With like 1,000 gallstones.
He said 3,600 plus. He said that the machine tapped out. It was just like a lot. Poor guy, dude.
He redlined the needle.
Yeah, he literally did. He said the machine it stops counting after like 3,600. It's awesome, dude.
Floyd, we love you.
We love you, bud.
We're glad you're with us.
Yes.
We're glad that you got help. And
yeah.
we are also, I don't know, oddly proud of you for burying the needle.
Dude, on gallbladder stones or whatever.
Burying the needle.
Yes.
He like literally,
Yeah.
his body was like gallstones, and his gallbladder was like, just send it.
Yeah. Check. Yeah, dude.
So it is my sincere hope to be back on the road. Probably it's going to take another couple of years for me to dig out, but to be back on the road and go see Floyd. He has a new baby.
Aw.
And I'm very excited about those of you who are having babies.
Yes.
Good things come with babies.
Yep.
Even the trouble is good.
Yeah.
And they fill our lives. I'm very pro baby.
I'm pro baby.
I'm pro baby. I'm pro having babies. And I'm probably too old to make a baby, but I'm very very happy that those are happening, and I'm super happy for you, Floyd. And I know it's a crazy week for you, but Floyd is one of the best examples
Yes.
of exactly what I've been speaking on.
Yeah.
I would encourage our listeners to check him out on Facebook. Floyd goes skateboarding every morning, and he keeps it simple. He keeps it absurd.
Yes.
He keeps it happy and absurd. And I think that Floyd would be a great podcast guest.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
That I would love to do, especially in on location, because just a minute away from his house is one of the best views of the ocean I've ever feasted eyes on.
What area of Florida is
Oh,
he in?
he's down in
Burma.
he's in
Blacksonville.
Brevard
Brewing.
Brewing.
Brandon.
He's in Bradenton.
There it is. Yes.
Bradenton, Florida. He's in Bradenton.
Lovely.
And
Palmetto, he says.
he
He said Palmetto. We were so happy we found it.
His local skate park is Bradenton.
Okay.
Bradenton Riverwalk is the park.
Yes.
It's so good. It's
That's
such
awesome.
a good
Is that
park.
that Team Pain one?
I used to know.
Well, that's fine.
Back before my brains fried. And just north of Bradenton, or south.
Or south.
It's fine.
You'll find it.
It's right.
Yeah, you'll
It'll
find
do.
it.
It'll do. I have been to Floyd's a few times.
Does he run a skate shop?
Hop. House Upon.
Yes, that's
skate
it.
shop.
That is it. Yeah.
He changed his operation.
Okay.
I haven't tracked super closely because I took the 3-year break. Best skate shop and best board collection, private board collection I have ever laid eyes on.
That's awesome.
And collected from the absurdity was kept intact.
Yes.
The whole way.
Yes.
Completely love you, Floyd, and really warm memories. And I got to visit Floyd with Tommy Story. Oh, he's all mobile right now, so he's still doing stuff.
Good. Very cool.
And he, love you, Floyd. So happy that we do our podcast with a Facebook Live up in front of us.
It's sick.
So, you pick what is fun for you. Now, if none of it is fun, and if it all causes you anxiety, stop.
There might be...
Or push through.
Yeah, there might... I was
Maybe
just going to say...
through. I think
there's a little bit of value in pushing through, because sometimes sometimes I get really blue and I kind of get down into a little low spot, and nothing at all feels good, sounds good, want to do it at all. And when skateboarding and the things in your life are set correctly in the positions where you feel like they should be set, and in your hierarchy, you know, of value.
Yep.
If you know that they're set correctly and you've done your work and nothing feels good to do, then maybe try to push through and do it anyway, because you'll come out on the other side and it'll be better. But I agree with your statement. You don't have to skateboard. You don't have to be a skateboarder. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of freedom there for folks. You know, if you like something else, you like something else. That's what it's supposed to be. It's play.
What do you... We in our earlier episodes, we spent time on the kind of profile of a person who's throwing their boards and very unhappy.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer vibe, man.
It is.
And it's also behavior.
Yeah.
So if you're going to act like that around me, one time there was a guy, the park was crowded, it was a congested indoor, it was summertime, and there was an event going on of some sort. And we were skating a half pipe over in the corner, and, you know, the etiquette is real, you know.
Yeah.
And there was this little guy, and he was quite good.
Yeah.
And there was this little guy, and he kept flying in from another part of the park and trying this. It was a long line in a congested park that required, you know, everyone to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And he was, that's kind of how I remember it. It might not have been a long line, but he was trying this thing. And he just, again and again, he had a filmer too. And again and again and again and again and again. And he was a sweet guy.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't doing anyone any wrong, but I was feeling spicy.
Yeah.
And I razzed him. I heckled him. I was like, hey man, you're really good. You know, it would be cool. I said, sure, it would be cool if you did something that you could do every now and then.
Yeah, why not?
Because all of us want to see you do some of the cool stuff that you can do.
Right.
I bet you could blunt slide, like Ollie nose blunt slide this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Of course.
He did it. But I heckled him pretty hard.
Yeah.
And he smiled. He was sweet. He was nice.
Sure.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
You know. But I heckled him pretty hard.
Yeah.
I called him a name. I can't remember what I called him. It was a nickname. It wasn't like a mean name.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And turns out he won. He is the guy who had just won Street League that year.
Really?
Like, yeah, he was this big internationally known skateboarder who had just won Street League.
You just hammered down.
And I heckled him like on camera. This low talent, absurd, this picture of absurdity.
Yes.
You know, kook.
Yes, of course.
I had just heckled it like
Chaz Ortiz or like...
He was Chaz Ortiz.
Oh, that's who he was.
Yeah, it was Chaz Ortiz. And good on you, Chaz.
Yeah.
Love
How
you,
old was
buddy.
he?
He was young.
In your mind, was he like a child, but he was really like 17?
I think he was 17.
Yeah,
No, I think he was like 17 years old.
That's so funny, dude.
And he had like the flat bill with the tag on it. I don't know if he had a tag on it. He was very steezy.
Yeah.
Oh, I even think his like handle was Steez Ortiz.
Steez Ortiz.
And he was very stylish,
Yeah.
you know, but like I as far as I remember, I gave him no quarter.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Yeah,
and I just was like, dude, it sure would be cool to see you do something other than bail that one trick.
Yeah.
And I think I went so far as to say something along the lines, I don't think he'd remember, but I usually say something like, hey, you know, if your video part comes out and that trick is in there, I'm going to tell the whole story of how it took you 100 tries in the comment section.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm going to blow you up.
Because I usually go further. I usually say, because I am sick and tired of 150 tries, one make, never come back to it.
Right, of course.
In the bag.
Yes,
you know, I hate that.
Yes.
Because it makes kids think that's what skateboarding's about.
Yeah.
Being able to do that.
Yeah.
And while the professional skateboarding really is about that, like, take your super talents of today. Nigel Houston, he's very wealthy because he's put skin and bone and blood and sinew on the line.
Yeah.
And I've watched his falls, and people ought not be doing that.
Yeah, they're getting rocked.
You shouldn't be falling like that. You have to have a really good reason to fall that hard.
Yeah.
And he kind of does.
And
the reason is money.
Right. I mean, that's his job.
that's his job.
To some degree, that really validates his.
It kind of does,
which is cool. That's actually I really am enjoying your perspective right now because it's everybody's like, oh, fucking IJ, you know. But I'm like, dude, first of all, he's one of the best skateboarders alive right now.
He has really achieved impressive things,
and that's his career. This is his vocation. He's a skateboarder. That's what everybody wants to be, and he is doing it. You know, he really is, and it pays really well. I know that there are smart decisions going on, you know. Behind the scenes that are none of my business. It's none of my business, but I will say this. It's like, it's not bad, but it can be bad for us. Yeah, no, for sure. If that's the only perspective that's being offered as the valid way to skateboard, that's rough. That's rough. As long as there's more options, I'm fine. I like that there's people like Naja out there killing it. I don't like the bandwidth being so little. You know what I mean? Well, that's why I'm grateful for TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, absolutely. My TikTok, you know, we started a TikTok for CapmLew. TikTok. And my TikTok is chock full of old men and women. Yeah. And girls and kids who are in my lane. My lane is the lane of absurdity. Low ambition absurdity. That's my branding niche. You know. My branding niche. My branding tranche. Yeah. and so I not only gravitate toward that, but I advocate that. Yeah, absolutely. That's my bias. Right. Is that skateboarding, my favorite skateboarding is relatively absurd. Yes. It's old men learning to carve frontside. Yeah. And it is tipping a ridiculous, no flexibility, no core strength Smith stall, and diving back in and cut. Yes. You know, and that's happy. Those are the things I like to do. Yes. And also pet my dog, who is here right now. Uh-huh. The dog is here receiving pets. He's little. He's so sad. At all times, he is so sad. So, yeah. But I am happy for. I'm also concerned for the welfare of people like Naja. Yeah. We have spoken at length about that in other episodes. Our episode that touched on child stardom and things like that. Yeah. I'm concerned for their old age to some degree. Yeah. Because of the unsustainable high impact career that they're in. Sure. But I suspect that maybe it's all going to be fine. Yeah, well, and I know, like, I have seen videos sometime of like Naja's routine, and I think he's pretty disciplined about getting things like massages and like stem cell injections. Yeah, stem cell injections and like blood of orphans, things of that nature that really help his body stay strong. I mean, if you just worked out every day and had good core strength and good leg strength, these things would probably help tremendously, especially core strength, because we don't have any. Did you ever see the Saturday Night Live skit Middle-Aged Man? I don't think so. One of his lines was, "You're looking at my gut, aren't you? I'm working on it." That's how I feel when you start talking about that. Yeah, it's about core strength. I have been disciplined in the past. It's probably why I have what I have now, is what they call muscle memory. Your muscles know to build a certain way because they've built that way before. Yep. And so, like, I had to move 4,000 pounds of shingles in 75-pound bundles. Yeah. About 3 weeks ago, and I used proper lifting and proper positioning and everything while I did it. Yeah. And I wasn't even sore. That's awesome. So I'm not weak. Bro. I'm not weak. No. You know. No. I roofed a 10 square roof with hatchets, like hammering the nails. You know. Jeez, dude. I roofed it. I did about 7 square of that roof. Holy pretty much solo bro. in one day. Oh. And I wasn't sore after that either. And that's a lot of. It was really a 2-day job. Sure. Tore it off. Put on the new one, you know, whole thing. And how many nails per shingle do you guys use? I know it's a strange question, but I am wondering. 4? I think it's 5. I think it's 5, dude. I don't know. So many nails, bro. It might be 6. It might be 4. Dude, I can't remember right now. Yes. 1, 2, 3.
I think it's 4.
4.
But you do them in 5s. You leave the last one and you do. Oh,
yeah,
my
and you,
goodness,
like,
I can't
tag the last,
remember.
yeah, or
I'm the
something.
worst.
Somebody said 4 to 5. Yes.
Yeah. That's nice. Oh, it's good to see Kansas on here.
Yes, dude.
Do you know who Kansas is?
I don't.
He's a good brother. He's a good brother.
Hi, Kansas.
Yeah,
dude. Really
So,
you know,
I'm not weak,
no.
but I really would like to work out and get strung well. I also pulled a hip flexor, which a lot of people just say I pulled my groin.
My grind.
You know, I pulled my hip flexor when I was skating with at skate _with _ Grampy.
Yes.
I pulled a hip flexor quite badly.
Oofta.
It's bad.
Did you fall?
No. All I did was throw for a 360 no comply.
Oh yeah.
Without being like warm.
Okay.
And I straight just croink. I just croinked it. It was a arthritic. It was a arthritis. And I wasn't warmed up and I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And I pulled a hip flexor and had to change the whole session. I had to change the whole thing because I couldn't lift my right leg. So when I ollie, my leg would just stay down.
Yeah.
So I just did an ollie.
Yeah, that's it.
And
dude.
I did a bunch of, like on site,
yes,
working on it and stretching it and getting obviously blood was pouring into the socket,
yes.
And just get that inflammation worked out into the joint. It's yesterday I just took the day off.
Good.
And just laid around to let it heal.
Yeah.
And been staying on it. It's really going to be a strengthening game from here on out.
Yes.
So that's the kind of thing I would like to have, better health with.
Yeah.
And to move more and do more.
Yeah, one thing that I've been thinking a lot about this year and really the last 6 months or so in my own life is figuring out sustainability and the things that I want to do and the things I'm currently doing because my schedule is pretty packed. And so one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is small steps over time. Because I'm a kind of guy who, when I get into something, it's like all or nothing, I'm almost I'm incessant at times. Like I'll go out and do a car project, and I'll be like, oh, it's gonna take 4 hours, and it's like 14 hours later, and I'm still because I can't stop. Like that's the way I have been. So I've been trying to be disciplined about making small steps over time because you get way more done if you just did 20 minutes every single day. I think that really applies well to skateboarding, but it applies well to working out as well. Like literally, if you just did 15 minutes like every 3 days, it would be insane what would happen.
That kind of incremental discipline
Yeah.
is not nurtured by our present culture.
No.
The value, the understanding that, I'm going to do 15 minutes
Yep.
every day for 5 years.
Yep.
Like that is kind of what I'm on the cusp of in
Yep.
my personal life, and I'm trying right now to ask myself what is something like for working out. I just don't belong in the gym. I start going hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get hurt, and sometimes the focus of my affections, my mental focus,
Yeah.
gets dragged off. And I wrote down while you were saying that, keep the last things last.
Yeah.
But you have to keep them.
Yeah. They just have to be
You
last.
have to do them,
Right.
but they have to be last.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I'm like, what if I just did 10 burpees? What if every day,
Right.
I didn't do 30,
No.
I didn't do 50, I didn't work
Right.
from 5 to 100 burpees.
No.
What if every day you did 10 burpees?
Yes.
That probably got, going into your 60s,
Yes.
you would be a whole different animal to
Yes.
what you would be if you did nothing.
Yes. 100%.
And there's value in that.
There is. Absolutely.
And I don't think that our culture builds that kind of incremental. Japanese culture does.
It's cool. Yeah.
One of the cool things I've seen in the traditional Japanese culture is that they value incremental building. That's one thing that I got in martial arts a lot.
Yeah.
Really instilled in me is that the big things, the superpowers, are built out of tiny, weak things.
Yeah.
And And that's, so right now I'm in a place where when it comes to physical growth, just like with doing a front side turn,
yeah,
I feel strongly that you take off less, bite off less,
yeah,
and go lower and do more of them for longer,
yeah,
and then take it to flat wall, take it to round wall,
yeah,
and you know, there's a sadness I feel and a judgmental attitude I have,
yeah,
and I'm not looking to be admired for this.
sure,
I have a judgmental attitude toward when I see difficult tricks being done on a skateboard without, it's like a person skipped the steps. They went, instead of learning to push and turn,
yeah,
and go fast, they like were on carpet,
yeah,
learning to do flip tricks.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now the problem with that is that is a judgment that's subjective.
Well, what is the judgment when you see that thing? How do you feel?
I cringe.
Oh,
I cringe a little bit. And
yeah.
I think that our listeners would be best to know that this is a flaw in me, you know, or maybe they agree with me and they don't see it as a flaw. It might not be a bug, maybe it's a feature. But
Sure.
I cringe when I see people achieving highly technical tricks,
Yeah,
without the basics.
yeah,
I always will. I'll always wonder, oh, do you skip steps in other things too?
yeah.
You know,
sure. Right.
like you're gonna, you know, like so many times on my motorcycle when I'm repairing or maintaining my motorcycle. The other day, for example, my bike wouldn't start. I had just gone to the vape shop and my bike wouldn't start. And I just sat on it and I was like, all right, I was like, you know what? Now's a good time. You know, it's not the season yet. Still got the whole winter. I'll fix my lift. I'll put it up.
Yeah.
I'll replace the regulator rectifier. I'll replace the stator. I
Right.
know how to do that. No problem at all.
Yeah.
Regulator rectifier,
Battery.
stator,
Yeah.
battery, you know, and just fix it,
Yep.
you know. So I sat on the bike for a while.
Yeah.
This is about skipping the basics.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting on the bike and I was thinking through the process and I was visualizing replacing the regulator rectifier and running the wire. And then I got on the ground and I looked at the leads and I saw, oh, this is nice. It plugs in right here. That's a good place. Some of them run all the way back, you know, and you have to.
Sure.
This one was really nice. And I looked at it and I'm like, hey, this is actually a nice cycle electric unit. This has been done.
Yeah.
And I went over to where the stator comes out, you know, and I looked at the stator lead and it wasn't cooked.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Sure.
And I was like, I don't think that maybe that needs to be done.
Sure.
So I sat back up on top of the bike for a little while longer and I was like, you know what? I mean, it could just be the battery.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Maybe this is just a battery. And that's
Sure.
like $270 for a bagger battery. But I was like, yeah, that sounds good.
Right.
Remember, this is about skipping the
Small,
basics.
yeah, right.
And I was like, I wonder what my battery looks like right now.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you'd have to take off your seat to know.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but all you got is like a leather jacket on the backrest.
Right.
Like, you could just take the jacket off. Yeah, but what would you do if you did look at the battery? You just look at it and say it's there. And I thought, well, wait a second. Maybe your bike won't start because you have a loose positive terminal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they rattle.
That happens.
And the last guy to put my battery back in was a real moron, you know. So I was like, maybe that idiot who worked on it last time, it's me.
It's me.
Maybe he didn't tighten them up enough and you got a loose terminal. And I thought, no, that doesn't seem right because it was running proper and then it wouldn't start.
Yeah.
It didn't even have any electricity at all.
Right.
Nothing.
It's not as if the battery was just dying.
As if the battery were not connected. So it turns out to take my seat off, all
Yeah.
I have is one thumb thumb screw.
Yeah.
It's a really nice thumb screw.
Yeah, it's
too.
nice. Yeah, it has the knurls on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's knurled.
Yeah, it's knurled. Yeah, right.
So I just grabbed those knurls and I turned them, and the seat was often just puppity pop.
Yeah, right.
And I looked and I was like, sure enough, my negative was loose and had been arcing.
Yeah, of course, right.
And so, there's a little bit of molten lead on the corner of
It's
it. You'll
fine.
have that when they arc.
Yeah.
And I was like, geez, you've been beating the heck out of this thing with a loose connection.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if that'll tighten. Well, do I even have any tools with me?
Right.
Do I have a number 10 freaking crescent wrench?
Right.
It's like, dude, you do have tools with you.
Yeah.
And I pulled out my little mini tool pack, and I pulled out a number 1 Phillips.
Yes.
A little thing, and I snipped a zip tie and pulled some cabling away, and I put it in there, and sure enough, I tightened that up and put the seat back on and fired it up, and I rode the rest of the day. Now, that's why I cringe
Yeah, sure.
when I see basics, and I'm not even sure the basics are being skipped. And who cares in skateboarding if basics are skipped?
Yeah.
Skip your basics. Do your carpet boarding.
Right.
Have fun. If
Yeah.
that's where the fun's at for you, then go for it. Seriously.
Well, I'm interested in what drives the feeling of like, oh, this is cringe. Oh, I hate watching somebody who it appears have skipped the basics. What's important about the basics?
I think it's a mirror that shows me something about myself
Oh, I hate those.
that makes me uncomfortable.
I
I think
hate
it's
those.
just as simple as confession through projection.
Yes,
I
dude.
do. I think
Yes.
probably 90% of the things I don't like about something in skateboarding
Yeah.
is probably 3 fingers point back at me.
Don't you love it?
That's
Don't you
just
love that?
that's
dude?
where I think it's at. And that's why
Yeah.
skateboarding is such a useful tool for talking to each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there is an inherent vulnerability if you're brave enough to skate the way that you like. It's almost as if you're dancing, and dance is vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable to move your body in specific ways that feel goofy and silly. And so when we do it together,
yeah,
it really opens it up, dude.
bro, I have been told that I'm a bad dancer.
By who?
I'm not gonna say it would reflect poorly upon them,
That's fucked up.
but I've been told, and I have only danced in like a public dancing
Yeah,
like capacity
like a baby.
a few times. I do.
Yeah, you dance like a baby.
I dance like
Yeah,
a
you
baby.
just bounce up and
Babies
down.
know what's
Yeah.
good. You start with bouncing,
Yeah,
you
dude.
know, and you feel your body bounce,
Yeah.
and then maybe you bite your lower lip and start pointing. You start pointing,
Yeah.
and you just go for it.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah,
Why
sure.
wouldn't a guy? And someone will say, "Oh, you dance like a." I am.
Yeah, come on, man.
I am one of those
Yeah,
guys.
sure.
I am that type of person. I dance like a nerd or a kook or like that.
Or a baby.
But I think it's criminal to look at someone's dancing and say, basically, when someone says you're a bad dancer, I think they're asking you, maybe in a roundabout way, please don't dance.
Yeah, because they feel uncomfortable.
Or they'll even say to me, please don't dance. Your dancing makes me feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Well, maybe 3 fingers are pointing back at them
Right.
too.
Sounds like a you problem, bud.
What a great thing to
yeah,
say.
it sounds like a you problem, bud. I love you.
And maybe catch myself
Yeah.
now and then when I start to opine that
Oh,
I don't
dude.
like someone skateboarding, that maybe that sounds like a me problem.
Yeah, maybe that sounds like a you. Dude, I know I feel the same way. I love what we're talking about right now is that's my favorite zone to be in because I have found tremendous personal relief dealing with thoughts and feelings in my own brain and head by breaking them down in this kind of unbiased way that we're breaking this stuff down.
Mhm.
And I enjoy tremendously, especially like at a skate park is a great opportunity to be with somebody and be like, oh, why don't you like that? That's interesting. It seems like maybe that's a you problem. You know what I mean? Because it frees people up. Literally, just people admitting that they feel a certain way is like such a huge first step, and you can watch it wash off of them. Like it's just washing off. That's what we do when we heckle little kids at the skate park and all the scooter kids. We're heckling them. It's funny because I don't like it when people are mean, but we're doing it on purpose. We're saying the worst thing, their worst nightmare. We're saying it to them, but we have a smile on their face, on our face, and they smile, and you watch it. It just washes off of them. Because suddenly the thing that they are afraid about the most comes into the light and we're not ridiculing them, we're ridiculing the idea that they're stupid for riding a scooter. You know what I mean? It's amazing.
It is a stupid idea that
ride a
this
scooter.
kid is blowing it by riding it.
Yeah, right.
The kid
Yes.
is winning.
Yeah.
We were at a skate park a while ago, and there was a kid there who we know.
Yeah.
And He was obviously in the middle of an anxiety episode.
Yes.
He was standing. He wasn't skating. He was tense. His shoulders were up. His eyes were wide.
Yeah,
He was standing
just,
there.
just spinning out.
And there was only one thing to do. And I rode up and I pulled up next to him.
Yeah.
And I said, ha, 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 somebody's having an anxiety attack. I said, you're having social anxiety, aren't you, my dude?
Yes.
And he looked at me and he was like, yeah, I am. I said, that's hilarious. You're going to make it. You're going to make it.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Hey, don't forget. I said something like this. I usually do. I said, don't forget to take a couple of swings in the half pipe.
Yeah.
Go do your thing. And look, if you bail, take 2 mulligans. Like, go ahead and take 2 rebates.
Right.
As long as, if you want to keep going, just grab your board and start right back up again. If you do a single wall and you fall, grab another wall. If you fall again, grab another wall and then get out of the way. And we got your back.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So I like, that's heckling to me.
Yeah. We
You
just
know, like, look at you.
Right.
Look at you with your shoulders up and your eyes are wide.
Oh my gosh.
I did. I said that to him. I'm like, look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you. It's beautiful. This anxiety is just happening right here.
I love it.
I so relatable, you know,
Yeah.
and that's, to me, that's when I say I'm heckling people.
Right.
Like, that's how I do it.
Yes.
You know, and maybe it's not always heckling.
No.
You know, but yeah, you take like exactly what they're going through, if you can read it right, and you read it to them, and then you contextualize it to them within the, hey, you know what? You're playing with skateboards today.
Yeah.
This is one of the places that, you know what, if you did decide to relax, it would be appropriate.
Yeah.
And also, if you can't relax, that's fine too.
Yes.
Because we're all here having a good time. And if
And
anyone gives you any crap, let me know.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, you can see the value of dealing with your shit, because once you've dealt with your shit, then you can see somebody who's in the same zone that you've been in, and you can come in and it's like walking up a river, and they can hide behind your wake a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can look at somebody and be like, I've done been there, and I got you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that can bring some value to, if you're looking at your life or skateboarding and you're just seeing the Everest pile of work that has to happen, take it a piece at a time, friend. And also maybe to encourage you, there might be some people who you can help along the way. You know what I mean? You can hide people in your wake a little bit. That really drives me forward on a lot of the stuff that I get after.
It's deep.
It is deep. It is.
And it should be. It should be deep.
Yeah.
That's what has rankled me in the past about the mainstream voice of skateboarding. You know, we crowned our kings, and they weren't good at this.
Yeah.
They weren't really good at this.
Right.
They were real good at elitism, and they were really good at the quest for legitimacy at the price of the beginner, or at the price of the ungifted.
Yeah.
You know, all that came at a cost
Yeah.
to make it all about, you know, achieving a level, come correct or don't come at all type of culture.
Right.
That's actually a quote from someone who, if that person were to find out I quoted him, I'd like to let them know right now. I love you. I do. I've opposed your speech and behavior, but I don't oppose your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, my contentions have been in the interest of your life.
Yeah.
Really. Writ large. Writ large.
Yeah.
By dint.
Take it easy.
By dint of.
By dint of tranche. Knurls.
Like, you know, a good chat. You know, this is what happens when we don't know what we're going to talk about.
I like it. Dude.
So frontside carving and getting into the small art of skateboarding and the essentialness of its absurdity is really important. Skateboarding as an absurd act of childlike play.
Yeah.
That's where it's at for me.
Yeah.
You know? I see that Bud Stratford has joined us. Hello, Bud.
Hi, Bud.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
On the Facebook Live. This is also going to be up on Podbean. on Apple Podcasts.
Dude, I forgot to tell you, we're on Spotify.
We are now on Spotify.
You can listen to us on Spotify.
Listen to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Podbean, and on whatever it is that Google does.
It's the Android version of like Apple Podcast. It's like Google Play, I think.
That's good.
It's over there.
I know they have the Play Store. But,
right. And soon YouTube as well. And the YouTube version is actually probably, if you like the video format, you'll have that as well.
Yeah, the videos, all the audio for the videos is handled through the mic on an iPad Pro.
Yes.
So for what it's worth. That's what you get on those. As far as I'm concerned, it's fine.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few people message me that they listen still.
Yeah.
They go back and listen to my Facebook Lives.
Yeah, they were so good.
And my old YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really gratifying to hear because I would do tutorials on screen printing or board making.
Yeah.
And I always seasoned in there, my views on things.
Yeah.
These are my views. That was my favorite part. That was really a huge thing, was just dealing with the fact that my favorite part of working in skateboarding was the human contact and the ability for ideas that I saw as important to put out there to get out there.
Yeah.
So, you know what I have struggled with, I think I've rounded the corner on through doing the podcast, is I took exception to the following practice that I saw was mainstream, was giant YouTube influencer channel blows up and occupies the space of the mainstream.
Yeah. Okay.
Or magazine blows up in the 80s and occupies the mainstream voice, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't represent the values that I have and hold so dearly in skateboarding. Yeah. And I would get on my board and ride away. Yeah. And and then if it got too much, if the pressure built up, I would say, like, I would say spicy things. I would maybe blog, maybe blog. Facebook, because I wanted to put different ideas out there. Yeah. But it came to a point in like 2017-18 where I was like, you know what? I want to contribute. It's time to stop griping about, like, for example, here's a great one. This is an example that I think will help people understand where I'm coming from. So you're like the #1 YouTube, all the little kids are discovering skateboard through your YouTube channel. Yeah. You're huge. You're blowing up. Yeah. Vinyl toys, skateboard decks, tech deck, all that, right? Your Braille, your Revive, you're those things. And I was like, well, I want to definitely track this. Whereas most people my age were like, man, I don't even, like that. I was like, no, you know what? I really want to track this and see like how they doing. Right. Because, why would I automatically think they're kooks? Yeah. It's a good question. I don't tend to be dismissive. I tend to be investigative, so I looked into it. And I looked in there and like how to skateboard, tons and tons of tutorials. And they were really geared toward like just bought their first skateboard kids. Yeah. And the most, they were like, it was like how to kickflip. Yeah. And I'm like, geez, bro, I'd been skating for years before I did a kickflip. Yeah. And that's really, that's a strange place to start. Yeah. That's the way I felt. And I thought, I think this might be overall discouraging because, but I get it. That's why the kids watched it. Yeah. I'm not saying, I have said in the past that that's blowing it. That's wrong. It is what it is.
Well, I think you're defining why it's blowing it. I'm enjoying it.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe to some extent it is blowing it, but everyone's got their freedom to start where they want to. Like, what's weird to me is, like, even as I watched like those channels, the stuff I like to see isn't happening on those channels. I like watching Pete's Pigs, Pete.
I know, dude. Don't even get me started. That's so sick.
That's what I like to watch. And I
Yeah.
have a feeling
Yeah.
that the commercial appeal
Mm-hmm.
of that kind of skateboarding is larger
Yeah.
than the commercial appeal of, oh, you want to be a skateboarder? Great. So first you want to put your back foot in the middle of the tail, pretty far back, and then you want your front foot to be off center toward the heel, behind the front trucks about 2 inches. Now what you're going to do is pop down the back, and you're going to flick. Now the flick path goes off the nose.
Yeah, dude.
Don't just go off the side of the board, go off the nose.
Yes.
And what you're going to do is you're going to catch with your back foot. You really don't want to rock it. You want to bone it with the flick.
Of course.
So you catch with the back foot, then put it down flat, level at the top and flat down. Now you're skateboarding. That stuff drives me nuts.
Yes.
Because, and this is where I'm challenged. All right, Lou, then create something.
Yeah.
Then put it out there.
Yeah.
Start us off. Okay, you want to ride skateboards? Here's what you do. Figure out which is your front foot and your back foot.
Yeah.
Now, if your right foot is forward, they call that goofy. Ignore them. Okay, now figure out which foot you're going to push with. Just think about pushing on your skateboard.
Yeah.
If you push with your front foot,
Yeah.
someone's going to say that's Mongo and it's lame.
Right.
Ignore that. Okay, so that's how you push.
Yes.
All right. Now, so we're going to have to figure out how to push and then get back on the board with your feet sideways, and how to get your shoulders sideways so you can
Yes.
travel sideways but push going forward.
Yep.
And that's your first lesson,
Yes.
is how to have one foot on like this and the other pushing,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
And then you're going to pick that foot up and turn it sideways, and then turn this one sideways and ride sideways like you're on a surfboard.
Yes.
And then you're going to turn this one straight forward, the front one straight forward, and you're going to push again.
Yes.
And then you can pull the back one up and turn the front one sideways, and the back one is sideways. And this is skateboarding.
Yeah.
Now, do that until you're fast.
Yes.
And if it's not fun, try knitting.
Yeah. Try knitting.
Building little houses for bats and birds.
Yeah. Right.
Target shooting.
Yes.
Archery.
Right.
Slingshots.
Yes.
But now, okay, let's talk about turning left and right.
Yes.
Let's talk about toe side, heel side, front side, back side,
Yes.
and all of the crazy controversies about which is which.
Ugh.
All right, forget those. Let's just talk turning. Now you're going to turn. Now let's talk about going down a hill.
Come on now.
Let's really talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about scrubbing speed by carving.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, all right, kids, listen, sooner or later you're going to want to slide. It's better if you're trying it on purpose than you're doing it accidentally.
Yes.
Let's talk about death wobbles.
Yes.
Let's talk about pebbles.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
You know what?
Yes.
There's a way to skateboard where pebbles don't trip you up quite as much.
Yes.
There's a way to weight your board that you're less likely to
Yes.
get killed by a pebble.
To rock stop.
It's rock
Yeah.
stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is the stuff I want to put out, so that's what we're going to be doing.
I love it.
Yeah, for what it's worth, that's what we're going to be doing. And also, it's being done better than I'll do it by a whole bunch of people
I
who
love
are
it.
already Grampy out there.
Yeah.
At skate _ Grampy is killing it at
Yeah.
just sharing his journey.
Yes.
And that's so cool. And so contrast that with the, oh, you want a skateboard? Here's how you kickflip,
Right.
which is fine because I'll probably get better kickflips because of those guys.
Yeah. Probably.
I don't prefer the sing-songy voice.
Yeah.
I don't prefer what I see as plastic happy. I know it's miserable in LA.
Yeah.
It's miserable to live there, and it's
Yeah.
miserable to be an influencer fiending after clout.
Yeah.
I don't know how those guys keep their heads straight. One guy I think does do it is Dan Corrigan.
Yeah.
Seems like a guy who's kind of kept his head straight. Another one is Haley Isaac. Because I like these people. I'm interested in their career trajectories, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to probably do it like they do.
Yeah. I mean, I think what we're identifying is the degree to which you make your how-to videos on how to skateboard is going to set the bar so high that a person is going to try it for 5 minutes and then quit is correlated somehow with the degree to which you are quote-unquote blowing it.
Yeah, I think we should discuss it.
Yeah.
Because there are things I do that are hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what is a good touch point about this?
Yeah.
Is when I have talked to probably up to 20 scooter kids, just having conversations with people at the skate park.
I've probably talked to 200.
Yeah, 200.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll bring it up and you don't even bring it up. And you will ask them, have you ever tried skateboarding? Or they will come up to me and say, man, that was so cool. I tried to skateboard. And always, the first thing that they say all the time is, oh, I could do a kickflip. Or I did a kickflip. Or they'll say, I couldn't kickflip, so I stopped.
That I
and
run into it.
Drives me crazy.
Okay, so that's what keeps me up at night.
Yes, right.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what
dude.
keeps me up at night because
dude.
okay, so I was trying to be really balanced, and you just dove right into it.
Yes.
The chip on my shoulder is because of the so many.
Yes.
I'm good at talking to kids because I'm
Yeah.
safe.
Yes.
I'm safe.
Yeah.
And I'm good at talking to kids because I raised them,
Yeah.
and I've helped other people raise theirs.
Yep.
And also, I don't need anyone's approval, and I don't need to be cool.
Yeah.
And so when I talk to kids about skateboarding, first I let them gain some understanding that I'm not encroaching into their space.
Right.
And then I'm riding with them and I do my heckling and my joking around.
Yeah.
Which kid or big kid, I do it all the same. And then I ask them this question. I've done it so many times. Like, tell me, kid, you've ridden a skateboard before, right? And they're like, yeah. And they almost always jump right into what Luke said. They said, but I couldn't kickflip.
Yes.
Or they'll say, I was no good at it. And then
Right.
I'll say,
Yeah.
talk to me about not being good at skateboarding. And they will.
Yeah.
They'll say, I'm afraid to jump down things. I don't want to get hurt. I can't flip my board. I'm no good.
Yes.
And then I ask them, like, who were your like influences? And then they'll say, I went on XYZ YouTube and it's all about kick flipping and I just couldn't learn it.
Yeah.
And then I'll see also videos of kids landing their first kickflip and they're like, it's a rite of passage. But I could tell by the way they landed that kickflip that they can't ride at all.
Yeah.
They don't push.
Right.
They don't carve. They don't go fast.
Yeah.
They don't have slides
Yeah.
or carves or cuts or anything.
Right.
They don't have weightless moments. For them, skateboarding is the achievement of this trick that if they do it, they're in the group.
Yes.
And to me, that smacks of conformity. It smacks of mental illness. It smacks of anxiety.
Yeah.
It smacks of an economy of culture that is grinding these kids all into, square peg, square hole
Yep.
living.
Yep.
And the best thing skateboarding has done, in my view, is say, I don't know, do what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's in life, if you do whatever you want, you're dead.
That's true.
In real life, if you do whatever you want, you will die. But in skateboarding, now, of course, if you want to jump down something giant and you just go for it and you haven't trained up to it, you'll die too. It's the same everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't just do what you want. But in skateboarding, it just shouldn't be like, that shouldn't be the intro. And it won't be, because we're coming.
Yeah.
But not only that, there's an ocean of people who are doing it. And the other day,
God.
it was like yesterday or today,
The other day, today.
there was a Braille video.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the real basics. He was doing it right.
Yes,
It
dude.
was Aaron Cairo from Braille.
I love it.
And he was doing it right. I think I even saved the video. It was so precious to me.
Yes.
I forget what he was teaching, but it was like one of the true basics of enjoying a skateboard. And there he was, doing it so well. And also, it smacked of like genuine, humble, people change and grow.
Yeah.
And so, this is, it's, I will ridicule what I think is ridiculous.
No.
Okay. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that I don't think a person changes and grows.
Yeah.
And also, I get ridiculed. Don't feel bad for me.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
ridiculous.
fine. It's fine.
I'm a ridiculous person.
Yeah.
This crazy, all this on my face. And
Don't you love it when you talk about a general rule that you're saying, and they are important to talk about, and then you see an example of where the thing that you're talking about has broken that general rule and is doing something really cool. I love that. I love it when you can give critique and then find something. You're like, oh, but this right here, that was cool, because it happens all the time. Things aren't binary. It's not just
They're
black
not.
and white. It's not yes or no. It's not you're in, you're
No.
out. It's not. That's not the way things work. They're way more complicated.
It's not. I remember when like the mall shop was like the enemy of the skate shop. I just saw a post today that was like, "Don't shop at the mall, shop at the skate shop." But it used to be a really big deal, and it still is. I just am not there. I'll tell you what. I'll shop at your skate shop if your skate shop is professional and kind. If when I order something at your skate shop and call to see if it's coming, it hasn't come in 5 days ago without being called.
Yeah.
And then when I ask if I can pick it up, I don't get, and when I go pick it up, the dude behind the counter isn't so stoned that he drags the hardware all the way through the board.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, on and on
Yeah,
and on
right,
and on.
yeah.
You're killing me, man. You're
Yeah,
killing
come
me.
on.
And if the skate shop sponsored guys don't shut down the park,
Yeah.
I'm not asking them to give lessons, but I'm asking for skate shops to value, for all the industry. I think this exists.
Yeah.
But to value the good money. The good money isn't doing good.
Yeah.
Not shutting it down and being dominant,
Yeah.
but being a good example.
Yeah.
Not just of good skateboarding, but you got to be human. What if there's a guy who just rips better than anyone else, but he's a real negative dude
That sucks.
or lady?
Yeah.
They're out.
Yeah.
If you've got that attitude, you're not gonna. Well, I'm not charged of anything.
But you don't have my respect.
No disrespect
Yeah.
intended, but I don't respect
I
that,
don't respect that.
and you're gonna have that.
Right. And dude, I always think it's really sad when I see people like that, because from my perspective, and perhaps I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, I can see that their hierarchy of value in their life is disproportionately weighted to what people think about them in regard to how well they skate. And I'm like, man, what a shitty, sucky, dumb thing to like make as your, king shit on shit mountain for your life. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, what? So, okay, all the skateboarders respect you now, well, because skateboarders are so respectable and you should value their opinion so highly. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like pick something else, man, and it's really sad because these people have a tendency to lean towards like self-destruction in some ways, because skateboarding is real hard on your body, and the decisions that people make to be in the core group.
It's grim.
It's grim, yeah.
It's grim when you
really
hang your hopes on being dominant in a field that's a physical, talent-based meritocracy. That's
Yes.
a real hard row
Right.
to hoe. You can wind up aging out and having a tiger by the tail.
Yep.
I noticed that there was an old man brand that started up a while ago called Tired.
Oh yeah.
And
Those videos are sick.
yeah, people like those videos.
Yeah.
Never Was has a video series, very long videos filled with lots of people in there. I was at a live screening of a Never Was video, and it was lovely.
That's awesome.
I noticed in the Tired videos that there were a bunch of people in the Tired videos doing slappies and low talent stuff,
Yeah.
who I knew from their role in Thrasher magazine saying, if you ever quit, don't come back, and don't be a kook, and all this gatekeeping.
Right.
And there they were in the Tired video, and I thought, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with Bill Danforth, who says my favorite skater is the one who started today. That's really good. And what we can do to keep them skating is what we should be doing. And
Yeah.
I think that it is not telling them that they should be flip tricking
Right.
and like that. I could be wrong. There could be kids who started skating and that's just where they're at, man, which is why it's great that Braille exists. It's great that
Yeah.
Revive exists, if
Right.
it's great.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there aren't terrible scandals involved with those things.
Me too.
The likelihood is high that things like Woodward and Braille and Revive are going to run into scandals because they're going into battle with no armor on.
Yeah.
They're operating in a field that's full of kids and big kids who aren't tested on whether they can behave. They're tested on whether they can perform daring do.
Yeah.
And
No.
yeah, and
Don't.
I think that like outfits like Jankum Magazine and Quarter Snacks and the skate media, they're it's hard, you know, to be hep to the game and not wind up backing some really sinister shit.
Yes.
And that's happened through skateboarding, is that some really sinister shit has gone on, and it can't be talked about because the whole ecosystem breaks down. Money.
Yeah.
The monetary ecosystem would break down if you knew what was going on. Meanwhile, not with us.
Yeah.
That's just not going on here.
I've done had a snootful. We both have a snootful. We're done. Yeah. Oh.
I mean, we're
Things are
downright.
important.
We're downright. We're downright. You know, go to church.
There it is.
Open
Yeah.
your Bible.
Right.
You know,
He's trying to sell Bibles.
don't just clean your room. These
Yeah.
are not free. Not the ones with the gold on the edge. They're
Yeah.
not free. But I don't sell them.
Yeah.
I got accused of being a Bible salesman.
Yeah.
I thought, yuck.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh brother, where art thou?
Yeah, I know,
John
dude.
Goodman, wasn't it John
Yes,
Goodman's
dude,
character?
He was a Bible salesman,
But
dude.
he kicked ass.
Yeah, well, kinda.
He
Yeah.
was so evil.
Right. In the world, he
It's
was kicking
so
ass.
evil.
Yes, dude.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that. That's
Yeah.
not how it is with me. But I really want you guys to look into Jesus. He's got the answers, man.
Oh,
And-
so, oh, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with not liking what you're hearing. There were a lot of people. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm saying that you might not like what you're hearing, but look into Jesus, man.
Yeah.
And so this has been a good time together. We're rounding up on 80 minutes of sheer listening enjoyment.
Shenaniganry.
Kyle,
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, dude. Yes, Kyle. Yeah, who doesn't exist.
our intern, Kyle.
Yeah, dude. Yes. Our intern,
We borrowed Kyle from Maverick.
Yeah,
We got
dude.
Kyle here.
That's so funny. You're blowing it, Kyle.
You're blowing it, Kyle. So we did want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Life Skateboards. We are really happy to ride Life Skateboards. I got one right here. There's one up over there. Got my old Barney graphic on there. I don't have a pro model. That is not a thing. I am not a pro. I am an amateur in the true sense of the word. The word amateur comes from the French and Latin to love.
Oh.
It means a lover. And yeah, that's what it means. It means someone who loves it. That's why they do it. I'm not good at it. I love it. And yeah, amateur.
Yeah, I'm
It's
writing it down.
It's interesting. Professional. A pro is someone, this is the definition of professional, someone who gains their livelihood monetarily through remuneration for performing the thing.
Yeah.
So a professional in skateboarding is a person whose livelihood comes from the daring do.
Yes.
They are male and female models for fashion brands.
Yes.
Even your trucks and wheels are branded in fashion.
Yeah.
Most of them are unremarkable. Ooh, new brand of trucks
What?
just dropped.
Who?
Slappy Trucks.
Well, I've.
Big Pink from North Carolina just dropped a new truck brand.
Come on.
Slappy Trucks. He went down to the brass tacks of it during the COVID shutdown.
Yes.
Designed a new brand of trucks. Slappy Trucks.
Yep.
They turn like aces, and they have huge clearance on the kingpin from the hanger. They have a tall hanger. They're
Dude,
not light.
I'm looking.
They
them up.
turn great. I haven't
Yes.
tried them yet, but I want to tell you, I'm excited about Slappy Trucks. Now, they may be from some Guangzhou province.
Probably.
That's usually par for the course, but I tell you, if they were made in the United States, I'd pay $100 a set without blinking an eye.
Straight up.
I did that with surf rods.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
bought,
remember
I bought a
that.
$100 set of surf rods trucks.
I remember that.
They asked me for feedback, and I told them, I was like, bro, you're killing me on a couple of pieces of your design, but you're really onto something.
I feel like these
They
guys are
didn't
gonna,
like me for that.
they're gonna get sued by Independent, dude.
Who, Slappy?
Yeah, there's trucks to me look just like Independent. They kind of have the branding similar.
Let me see.
Here, just look, please.
Slappy brand trucks. There they are. Slappy. Let's see what we're looking at. They do kind of look like
yeah. Dude, look at the logo on the bottom. Doesn't Indy have a logo? Keep going down.
like that.
Yeah, like that.
You know what they all
here,
do?
Keep
They all have that
keep
logo
going. There's one
on
where is
the
it?
on the bottom of the truck underneath.
Pinch out.
I am.
Yeah, there's one more right there. That's Slappy right there. That reminds me. No,
they're safe.
No?
I think Snap-on is more likely to
Oh
sue
yeah,
them than
yeah,
Amy.
it would probably.
I'll tell you what, that's a really
Dude, maybe Snap-on will come out with a truck.
the thing about Slappy trucks is they only go out to 9, but
Okay.
they have sizes from they're like 8, 825, 85, 875, and 9 are the sizes they come in. And this was what blew my mind about Slappy trucks.
Go ahead.
Not a sponsor. All right, unpaid. The size of the truck
Yeah.
is the length of the axle of the truck.
Surely not.
Oh, I know.
Surely not.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Who would ever have
Gosh.
thought that the first truck,
Wow.
the first skateboard truck to be advertised on actual length would happen in the year 2023?
I know. What about a 149? Yeah, which.
Oh, you mean 149 millimeters?
Yeah,
No.
great. Yeah.
No.
No, it doesn't?
149 centimeters? No. 14.9 centimeters? No. Why? No. A 149. That's a 8.5. Kind of. No.
Yeah.
Like,
Why?
where did you go? A 139. Oh, is that an 8-inch truck? Well, I'll take 2.5.
Dude, we should try these out.
I want to.
Buy
I want to buy them.
We should skate them together. That'd
I
be
agree.
fun.
I want to. But the problem is they only go out to 9 inches.
Bruv, are you like a guy who needs your trucks to be like...
No, but I'm already riding an 11-inch board with 10-inch trucks. That's a ½ inch of overlap. It's not really because there's a taper.
Yes.
You know what?
I'll buy a set.
I want to buy a set, and I'll make a board specifically for them.
Yes.
It'll be 10 at the widest.
Yeah.
9 at the rear truck, maybe 925
That's
at
fine.
the rear truck.
It's gonna be fun.
It'll be 10 at the widest. It'll probably 9.5 at the front truck. That's how I like it. It'll have a blocky tail, and the tail will be 9.5 wide at the corners of the tail.
Surely not.
Oh, I can't wait to do this.
Yeah, he's overcome.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, just, it's going to have like a 7.6 inch nose and a 7.2 inch tail.
Yes.
That's good. Generous nose, generous tail.
Yeah.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
He's literally having a moment right now. Folks.
And then I'll do slappies.
All right.
We'll go over to that asphalt curb right down the street.
I want to.
That one's so easy. It's a
dude.
ride-up curb. It's so easy.
I love it.
That one I can do front side, back side, just...
Yes. Yes,
We'll
dude.
do the small arts, and we'll talk about...
Yeah.
Oh, the Slappy Mania is upon us. We're going to do one on Slappies.
Yes.
We're going to talk about Slappy Mania.
Yep.
I mean, talk about no moderation and blowing out the technical aspect.
Yes.
Slappies used to be a thing we did in between things, and you know when I saw it was Ace Pelka. Ace Pelka did a part
Okay.
that was just full of Slappies.
And you enjoyed it or did
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And of course, I could watch John Lucero,
Oh, stop. Right.
do Slappies, and because John Lucero gives you permission to get old, to get fat,
Yep.
to have a bad back,
Yep.
and to still have like style
Yeah.
and depth and have a great time riding your board. He gives hope to all of us.
Yes.
That because listen, we do like to have style.
Yeah. Come on.
It's fun
Yeah.
to learn something and then begin to like.
Yeah.
I couldn't carve, and then I learned to carve, and then I started bending my knees and really feeling the weightless moment.
Yep.
And when I started feeling that weightless moment, maybe you buck your knees in toward each other, you bend down in that little skater crouch, and in that moment you're surfing on a wave.
It's clarity.
You're slaying,
Right.
and you're gonna finish this one and paddle out. You're gonna paddle out for a few hours, and when the surf comes down, you're gonna go back to the beach. You're gonna like scrape your board and re-wax it, or maybe just leave it.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna like load up, you're gonna walk back to your car, and your feet will be dry and your suit will be drying off because it's really hot out. But you're cool because you were just out there from like 5 in the morning until like 8.
Dude.
And then you're gonna go get fried plantains from the beachside tropical food joint.
Yes. Yes.
And you're gonna eat fried plantains
maybe a cup of coffee.
And you're gonna put your board in your van.
Yes.
And you're gonna get out your skateboard with big cushy wheels.
Yes.
You're gonna ride the skateboard down.
Yes.
And you're gonna have like some Sanooks or something on your feet. And
Yes.
you're just gonna cruise that skateboard down there.
Yes.
And you're just cutting and just carving down.
Yes.
You can eat fried plantains, like a double order, because you know you shouldn't.
Yes.
And then you're gonna ride back.
Yes.
And it's flat, you know.
Yes.
Not uphill either way. You're gonna ride back to your van.
Yes.
You're gonna peel out.
Yes.
And then you get back to your place. And it's time for a motorcycle ride.
Oh my gosh, dude.
You're going to ride your motorcycle out to your friend's house, and you're going to talk about the way he's going to redo his, like, bobber.
Yes.
And you're going to talk about ordering the Sportster treatment to fix his wiring from Lowbrow. And you're going to fart around, and then, you know, you're going to talk about going to the swap meet and getting a new seat for your bike. You don't know which one it's going to be. And it turns out it's this white Corinthian leather with cracks in it.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And you have to rebuild an entire sissy bar with a flux core welder from Harbor Freight just to put the seat on.
Yes, dude.
Your bike looks ridiculous and you couldn't be happier.
Yes.
You know?
Finally something. Yeah.
So that's what I miss about Slappies.
Oh my gosh, dude. That was awesome. We were on such a journey. We clipped the event horizon, dude. That was beautiful. That was awesome. I feel better, dude. I feel relaxed. I'm gonna listen to that as I go to bed on loop. Oh,
Kyle.
Man. Yeah, Kyle. Good work, Kyle. Oh man.
Well, all right. I think this concludes this episode of the CapmLew podcast. We did a little bit longer on Facebook, and we were talking from 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 23 and following. It's a good read.
If you got the gumption.
If you got the gumption, man, crack your Bible, dog.
Yeah,
crack your Bible.
Bro. Yeah.
It's. I would say it wouldn't hurt you, but it does lead to a life where you lay down your life, so that does hurt.
Mayhaps.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm more than just saying. I'm also just living. Well, I don't know what to say. I had such a good time with you, Luke.
Yeah, real quick. Just some technical details with the 2 minutes we have left. I know we've said it before. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on Google Play. We're on Podbean. We are going to be on YouTube eventually. We have an Instagram, the CapmLew Podcast _ between the words. You'll find it. We're on TikTok as well. And we have some sort of Patreon. Is that what they call it? Or
it's
not, patronage?
It's we really do need your help to do this. It's time consuming, and also we'd love to quit our day jobs. Probably won't. People tell us don't quit your day job. Keep it up.
Yeah, we won't.
But we'd really like to get back on the road. So patronage through Podbean. It's in the.
It's on Pod. You'll find it. There's a money symbol. Just do the thing.
CapmLew.podbean.com.
Yes.
You'll find it. Click the dollar sign.
And there's probably a link on Facebook Live if you're interested.
Also, hit me up in Venmo. I'm just saying, none of this is freaking 501c3.
Yeah, come on, man. It will be maybe eventually.
We literally have. We have
quickly,
over a minute
hold
left.
on. Just ended quickly. The one more thing. You got questions. You got comments. You got a thing where you want us to talk about. You think we're ridiculous. Whatever. Don't care. We have an email. It's CapmLewQuestions@gmail.com, and we'll probably begin to put it in the links and things. Probably not. It's fine. It's on the Instagram. You can find it. Just do it. You got it.
Send your questions. Send your criticisms.
Yes.
Send your. You can also comment on the Podbean format.
Yeah.
Just troll it. Just troll it.
Troll it, bro.
Troll it.
Dude, somebody called you the guru of grind on Instagram the other day.
That's weird.
I think it was do you know somebody named, I don't want to say his name, but it might have been somebody, he has the same last name as you. So I don't know who it was. Maybe a nephew or somebody.
Sounds like a nephew.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
Anyway, that's it. That's what I wanted to say.
Well.
And I've said it.
Well, for what it's worth, CapmLew.
And Luke, signing off. Laters.
Facebook people. Boy, do we ever appreciate hanging out with you guys. We recognize that there's not enough time in the world to watch a Facebook Live this long. It's ridiculous.
It's an hour and 47 minutes.
None of us expect anything like that. Is it really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, dude, an hour and 48 minutes right
Let's
now.
see. Well, yeah, that makes sense because we did
90.
89 minutes and 51 seconds on Podbean. The Facebook Lives are a little bit cool because they have the beginning and the end, on them, but they're not very cool.
It's fine.
Cool's overrated, man. Jenkum is cool. So if you want cool, go to Jenkem.
I was like, is it though?
Quarter Snacks.
Yeah, Quarter Snacks.
Quarter Snacks.
The
is
magazine,
super
not the
cool.
drug.
Is that a drug?
No, Jankum is.
Oh, Jenkem's not a drug. I mean, it. Yeah, okay.
It's an
so
inhalant.
sad.
Yeah,
that it's a-
don't.
that it's
I
a-
mean, don't do
Oh,
it.
I
Doc.
forgot about that. Oh my gosh.
I'm triggered.
But they're living up to their name. All right. So in terms of journalism, they are.
Yes, dude. I love it.
So we're gonna pull off these lavalier mics and we're gonna shut it down.
Lavatars.
Dude, we have to figure out a way to podcast next week because our schedule's weird.
It'll be Tuesday and Wednesday.
Oh, well, okay. That's not. It turns out it wasn't that weird.
I don't think it's gonna be just fine. Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Good, I wrote it down. That's I'll
for
still
next
forget
week.
it.
Yeah,
I'll still forget it.
and it's fun.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Thank you, and we will be back again and again. Thanks, friends.
Later.
Catch you soon.